G'day guys, how you going? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean and today we're taking a look at a brand of gaming memory that I actually haven't heard of before. The one that I have with me at the moment is from a company called Pinnacle, which is a branch off another company called TimeTech, which was founded back in 2013. And this is their new Pinnacle MM1K, which stands for Conduit ARGB gaming memory. It's 3600 megahertz. They reached out to me and asked me would I be interested in checking it out, which obviously I said yes, definitely send it over. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you, I guess, the aesthetics, what does it look like inside of the system, as well as some benchmarks comparing it to some other brands, Team and G.Skill, in some different synthetic tests, so you can sort of figure out whether or not this memory is worth your money. So if you enjoyed the video and you like the content, don't forget to chuck it a like, get subscribed, leave me a comment down below, and let's begin. Now, in terms of design and aesthetics, I know everyone's going to have their own personal preference, and I'd love to hear what you guys actually think down in the comment section. But I think Pinnacle's done a really good job here. It looks, kind of modern, got a bit of a Transformer vibe, and most importantly with the RGB, you can see a lot of it, and there's no hotspots, and there's no real, obvious way you can tell where the RGBs are. So I think Pinnacle has done a really good job here. Now, obviously, it's really difficult to show you guys how the RGB lighting looks on camera, but I'm going to do my best here because this RAM can integrate and will integrate with things like ASUS Aura Sync, Gigabyte's RGB Fusion, MSI Mystic Light, and also ASRock Polychrome Sync. So if you do have other hardware with RGB lighting, this will work with that and you'll be able to sync up all the colors and everything else. So obviously the color that you're seeing right now is red, and then this is orange, which kind of shows up as yellow. Yellow kind of shows up on camera to be almost white. This is green, then this is blue. You can actually kind of see in the color of the hoses from the pump the actual color better than looking at the RAM directly, just to give you a bit of an idea. So that was orange, yellow, green. Yellow is actually more of like a toxic yellow. It's kind of like almost like nuclear fusion reactor yellow. Then you've got lime green, I guess an ice cool blue, which actually looks really sick. Then you've got like a pure blue, and then pink, which actually does again look really nice. And then white, which is a very difficult sort of color, if you want to call it that, to try and do. But I think the white LEDs that they've put on this particular kit with the diffusion, they actually have done a pretty good job. So they're the different colors. And then, if you want to go ahead and just do color cycle, you can do that. If you want to go ahead and do, strobing effects, you can definitely do that as well. So, in terms of what kind of customization you can do with the RGB, you're not missing out compared to other brands. It's just as good, if not the same. Okay, so let's go through the test bench that I use, my personal PC, when I tested and compared these three different sets of RAM. As you can see on the screen, we had a 5900X CPU, a B558 gaming motherboard, a Strix 2070 Super with an 850 watt power supply on Windows 10 Pro, the latest build version, as well as the latest BIOS, which was 2604 for this particular motherboard. Definitely not a bad system. Probably the only weak point is the graphic card, which in this particular scenario and these tests that we're doing on the RAM isn't really a big determining factor. I'll probably be upgrading that graphic card when the new 4000 series come out, whenever that is, towards the end of 2022. Now let's take a look at the three different kits of RAM that I tested and compared. Obviously, we've got the Pinnacle MM1 Conduit ARGB, we've got the Team T-Force Extreme ARGB in white, and we've got the G.Skill Trident Z ARGB in black. Prices, you're looking at $180 for the Pinnacle, which is extremely good value. Team T-Force Extreme in white is $249, and then the black G.Skill Trident Z is $289, with slightly tighter timings of 17, 19, 19, 39. But otherwise, these three kits are basically basically identical. And the only other, I guess, notable mention here is that the Team T-Force Extreme uses Micron, or is manufactured by Micron, where the Pinnacle and G-Skill is from SK Hynix. But in terms of capacity and speed, they're all identical. Just the G-Skill, is slightly tighter in those timings, which, you know, some people might argue is a little bit better for overclocking, a little bit more responsive, but it's also $109 more than the Pinnacle. The Pinnacle here, in my opinion, is the definite winner in terms of value for money. And, you know, you'll see in the benchmarks pretty soon how it performs. Now, the first benchmark that we ran was the AIDA64 memory benchmark. And as you can see here, the Pinnacle memory, considering that it's only $180, performed extremely well, being the fastest kit in terms of read, only slightly slower than G-Skill from the write and copy point of view, but actually the fastest in terms of latency as well, which is a real surprise here. Another real surprise was how bad the Team T-Force Extreme performed. I was really expecting a lot more, but it's way off the pace. And I mean, G-Skill, again, very, very quick on the read, write, and copy, really close to the Pinnacle memory. But $289 for that kit versus $180 from Pinnacle, I would still recommend and prefer the Pinnacle memory. Someone might argue that the G-Skill memory might be a little bit better for overclocking, as it's got slightly tighter timings, but for me, I'd be more than happy to recommend Pinnacle for just raw performance. Now, the next test that we ran was Cinebench R23, and the best score that I got when running this test was with the Pinnacle memory. Compared to Team and G-Skill, it just outperformed them every single time with a top score of 21,488, Team with 21,276, and G-Skill with 21,131. So it's not just in that first test in AIDA64, but also in Cinebench, where the Pinnacle memory definitely stands out. Now, the next test that we ran was the 3D Mark CPU profile test, and I know that if you look at these three scores here, you're probably going, geez, they're very, very close together, but I think the main takeaway is that the Pinnacle kit for only $180 still performs really well in multiple different scenarios here, and, you know, on paper, it's definitely better than the Team and the G-Skill. Now, following on from that, if you look at the 3D Mark TimeSpy CPU scores, the Pinnacle absolutely smashes the Team memory, absolutely smashes the G-Skill memory as well, with the top score of 13,498. So if you're really wanting to get the most amount of frames per second when you're playing really intense games, the Pinnacle kit is definitely not going to let you down. And now the last test that we ran was V-Ray, which is another synthetic, really intense test, and the Pinnacle comes in with a score of 16,561, which again beats the Team and the G-Skill memory. So in almost every single test that I ran, which I ran multiple times to sort of just, you know, confirm my results, the Pinnacle memory kit was just by far the best kit out of the three, and also the most affordable, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Pinnacle for sending this kit over for review. And you know what, I'll probably be leaving this kit in my PC until something faster comes along. That's how much it's impressed me, and I definitely think you guys should give them a chance if you're interested in, you know, buying or upgrading some RAM of your own. But I do want to hear back from you guys, so feel free to drop me a comment, ask me a question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.